All right, everyone, welcome back to Dunk Talk. So in today's video, I got some more trade rumors. It sounds like the Nets are willing to trade some of their sharpshooters in Seth Curry, Joe Harris, and another name that I'll get into. And these playoff contenders actually sound like they're going to be interested in Fred VanVleet as well. But let's go ahead and get right into it. So if the Toronto Raptors decide to make Fred VanVleet available prior to the trade deadline, the veteran guard will have no shortage of suitors. One of those suitors could potentially be the Brooklyn Nets, who are very interested in obtaining him. Now, according to Bleacher Report today, they stated that either the Raptors and VanVleet will extend their marriage, or the team will look to get value for him in a trade before the deadline. If it's the latter, several playoff contenders, at least teams that consider themselves playoff contenders, would have interest. And these teams would be the Nets, Miami Heat, Los Angeles Lakers, the Clippers, Minnesota Timberwolves, Dallas Mavericks, Phoenix Suns, and Washington Wizards. The Orlando Magic would also be in there as well, per multiple other NBA sources. So VanVleet isn't the only player that the Raptors will have to make a decision on. Right now, this team is stuck somewhere between contending and rebuilding. Toronto has to decide if it wants to move forward with their players like OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam, or cash in those assets and press the restart button. But as a result, they are definitely a team to keep an eye on over the next few weeks. Now, let's talk about how this will bleed into the Nets, and possibly what the Nets are even looking to do if Fred VanVleet doesn't potentially work out. Now, the biggest thing is that the Nets are willing to swap their shooting for more size. Now, the Nets have been a little bit up and down this season. They had a sluggish start to begin with. Then it turned into a solid streak of wins, and there was a lot of wins in there during the midseason. And now they've just been kind of up and down with their games. Some wins here, some losses, just kind of remaining in contention. Currently, they are sitting at the 4th seed in the East with 29 wins and 18 losses. I can still say, obviously, they are legitimate contenders this season, and from what I've been hearing, the Brooklyn Nets are looking to upgrade ahead of the trade deadline. So I'd say the real big need for Brooklyn is just adding some size. It sounds like they are willing to part ways with guys like Seth Curry, Joe Harris, and Patty Mills. These guys could all be potential trade pieces to accomplish what they need. I'd personally hate it if they got rid of Seth Curry just because he's so elite. I mean, he's so good. I mean, just the other night he dropped like 30 points. So losing him would be a serious loss. But if the Nets feel that it's necessary to replace him, or if they feel that using him in a trade piece would get them the best quality return for size, then I guess, so be it. But it's kind of sad to think that the Lakers were able to get Rui Hachimura for practically nothing. And that's some pretty good size right there. But the Nets would have to think about getting rid of Seth Curry. I mean, that's pretty insane. But anyway, none of the players that I mentioned between Seth Curry, Joe Harris, and Patty Mills, none of them are technically locked up long-term in Brooklyn. And having 3 separate floor spacers in those guys with not necessarily the best defense between them all is also probably not necessary. I would probably trade off the lesser of those 3 guys. I think maybe Joe Harris might be that guy, only because he's getting a little bit older. And even though he's a really good shooter, his salary is also decently high. So that would be something nice that the Nets could get off their books. But anyway, if the Nets could flip one of those guys to increase their front court strength, then I think their roster would overall become a lot better balanced. It's kind of like the Lakers situation, just without all the guards. I just think that more size is something that they truly do need. And I think that size will help them for playoff matchups against teams like Boston, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia. So we'll see what they can do. Hopefully they can actually manage to get some kind of trade done. I'm not too familiar with their organization, but at least this is what we're hearing in the rumor mill. So I pray for you, Nets fans, because, I'm a big fan of KD and Kyrie, and I just hope that with all the mess that they've gone through this season with Ben Simmons and James Harden and just all the ups and downs with their coaching situation, I mean, it's just something that the Nets, I think, could hopefully prevail from and show the rest of the league that when they opted to bring 3 superstars in, they really had every intention of winning and that they're sticking to that motto moving forward. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Should they get VanVleet? Who should they get for size? It'd be interesting to see what they'd be willing to give up. And if it's people like Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Patty Mills, hopefully they can get something really nice in return.